10 years ago, my life was turned upside down when my best friend testified against me in court, falsely accusing me of being an abusive father. He claimed to have witnessed me shaking our daughter during a rage episode, and even presented doctored evidence to support his claims. My wife, who was already seeking a divorce, used this testimony to cut me out of our daughter's life completely. I was devastated. I knew that my friend's testimony was a lie, and that he had been manipulating my wife behind my back. It later came to light that they had been having an affair for 2 years and had planned the whole thing together to take my daughter away from me. I was heartbroken, but I didn't give up. I sent birthday cards, letters, and gifts to my daughter, hoping that she would know that I loved her and didn't abandon her. But I never heard back, and I was left to wonder if my ex-wife was poisoning her mind against me. Fast forward to today, and I've just received a call from a hospital in my old hometown. My daughter was in a car accident, and I'm listed as her emergency contact. I'm shocked and overwhelmed, but I rush to the hospital to be with her. When I arrive, I'm met with a mix of emotions. My ex-wife and former best friend are there, and they're clearly uncomfortable seeing me. My friend tries to apologize, but it's clear that he's still manipulating the situation. He admits to withholding my letters and gifts from my daughter, and even boasts about walloping her when she needed discipline. Dee turned to us. She needs rest. Only immediate family should stay. Denise immediately pointed at me. He's not family anymore. The nurse looked confused, and I pulled out my wallet, showing her my ID. I'm her biological father. The hospital called me as her emergency contact. The nurse looked surprised and then asked Lily, "Who would you like to stay with?" Denise cut in before Lily could speak. "She's a minor. I make the decisions." But Lily spoke up, "I want my dad." The shock on Denise and Russell's faces was priceless. The nurse nodded and started ushering them out, despite Denise's protests. Once they were gone, I pulled a chair up to Lily's bed and sat down. We sat in silence for a moment, and then Lily spoke up. "They told me you left us, that you didn't want me." I was taken aback, and my heart shattered all over again. I explained to her that I'd sent her cards, letters, and gifts, but that Russell and Denise had kept them from her. Lily looked down at her hands, and I could see the pain and confusion in her eyes. I gently asked her if Russell had hurt her, and she didn't answer directly. Instead, she asked me if I had hurt her when she was little. I assured her that I would never hurt her, and that Russell and Denise had lied in court to get full custody. As we talked, I learned more about Lily's life and what she had been through. She told me about school, her friends, and her interests. I shared stories about when she was little, and we started to rebuild our relationship. But just as things were starting to look up, Russell appeared in the hallway, blocking my path. He sneered at me. "Don't get used to it." I knew I had to be careful, but I also knew that I wasn't going to let him push me around. As I left the hospital, I sat in my car for a long time, thinking about what I needed to do next. I called my old lawyer and left a message explaining the situation. I knew I had to take action to protect Lily and ensure that she was safe. The next morning, I returned to the hospital, and Lily was looking better. We talked more, and I learned about the abuse she had suffered at the hands of Russell. I was determined to help her and to make sure that she was safe. I went to the hospital cafeteria around noon, and the food was as unimpressive as you'd expect, bland sandwiches and coffee that seemed to have been sitting out for hours. I was halfway through a turkey sandwich when I spotted Denise entering the cafeteria. She froze for a moment, then marched over to my table. "What do you think you're doing?" she hissed, keeping her voice low. Her hair was pulled back in a tight ponytail, making her face look sharper than I remembered. "I'm visiting my daughter in the hospital. Pretty normal dad stuff," I replied calmly, trying not to let her get under my skin. "You're not her dad anymore. You haven't been for 10 years, she snapped. I put my sandwich down and looked her straight in the eyes. "Lily wants me here, and I'm not going anywhere." Denise's face flushed red. She doesn't know what she wants. She's confused from the accident. She claimed the letters I'd sent were from a dangerous man, and she'd been protecting Lily. I shook my head. You can keep spinning that story, but Lily's old enough now to see through it. Denise grabbed my arm, her nails digging into my skin. Listen to me. You walk away now, or I'll make sure you regret coming back. I pull my arm away. I'm not that same guy anymore, Denise. I'm not running this time. A social worker, Amber Wilson from Child Protective Services, arrived at Lily's room later that day. She explained that the hospital had reported concerns about Lily's home situation based on comments she'd made to the medical staff and the circumstances of the accident. Amber asked questions about my current living situation, job, and relationship with Lily. I answered honestly, explaining how I'd lost custody when Lily was 6 and hadn't been allowed to be part of her life since. Lily described Russell's angry outbursts and how he'd grab her arm hard enough to leave bruises. Amber nodded, her face professional but concerned. I'm going to need to speak with Mrs. Carter and her husband as well, she said. Denise and Russell arrived at the hospital, demanding to see Lily. I stood firm, telling them she didn't want to see them. You can't just take her, Denise hissed. This is kidnapping. I pulled out the paperwork Amber had given me. I have temporary custody through CPS. You could take it up with them if you have concerns. The security guard stepped in, and they left. I wheeled Lily out of the hospital, feeling a mix of relief and anxiety. We arrived at my apartment, and Lily seemed to like it. We'll make this work, I promised her. The court hearing approached, and Stephen, my lawyer, prepared us for what to expect. He explained that Russell's outburst in court could work in our favor. Let's hope he slips up and admits to what they've done, he said. The day of the hearing arrived, and the judge listened to both sides. Denise and Russell's lawyer painted me as an unstable parent who'd manipulated Lily. But Stephen presented the evidence: hospital records, CPS reports, and Emma's statement. The judge spoke with Lily privately, then made his decision. The temporary custody arrangement placing Lily with her father will remain in effect pending the final custody determination. Russell lost his temper, shouting, "We did what we had to do back then. He was going to take her from us." The judge ordered a full review of the original custody case and referred Russell's statement to the district attorney for investigation. In the end, I was granted permanent custody of Lily. Denise was given visitation rights, which Lily decided she wanted to try. Russell pleaded guilty to child endangerment and driving under the influence. Lily and I started building a new life together, and I was determined to be the father she'd always deserved. Months later, Lily worked on a photography project about memory and perspective. She created a timeline of our relationship, including the letters I'd sent her over the years. I was proud of her, and it brought back memories of our past. I realized that even though we'd lost so much time, we were making new memories together, and that's what mattered most.